and kids often think. You'll notice I introduce vocab, and like 5 days later, I've put 20 of those words in the same sentence, and I'm like, blah, 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 vocab, 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 blah, 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 vocab, vocab, as opposed to vocab, 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 vocab. And a lot of my kids are like, whoa, 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 what did you just say? And like, that's normal. I understand. It gets worse. Even if it's been easy for you so far, maybe the one with more chemistry will be harder, or the one with more physics will be harder, or the one with more... Everybody struggled at some point in this class. And so I want to like really highlight something here. I've been where you are. I am, first of all, a language learner. Second of all, I was not always good at school. Third of all, I went from no APs. I went from Lompoc High School, which is considered to be like not a very academically powerful school, to University High School in Irvine, which is considered to be like one of the highest preparatory success rates of any public school in the nation. So I went from a school where I could get straight A's without ever doing any work, to a school where I tried my hardest and I was barely a C student. And so, like, trust me, I had been discouraged, like, for real. And then when I went to college, I was like, I had to work really, really hard. So I just want to say this, that method that I use for my class, where I tell you where we're going, and then you go home and you do the homework, and then you come to class, and I add to that, that's as good as it gets. You know precisely all the words I'm going to use and what we're going to talk about when you come in this door. You know word for word what's going to be on the test. So for anybody here who struggles or who thought you weren't struggling, and you'll find out today that after all you were struggling, I really want you to remember that it is possible to use my academic methodology to improve your standing in this class. Spend more time on the work, take more detailed notes, show up with more stuff on paper. You'll see it coming. When you look at the study guide, you're like, whoa, number 15 looks pretty heavy. So on that one, leave space. Write the vocab on the side so you know kind of you're like ready to do academic battle when you step in the classroom. Like a lot of kids who struggle don't realize that sometimes everybody's struggling and some kids are just putting in more time. Like seriously, if you don't have the time, I understand. If you have like a busy non-academic life, you got personal struggles, I get it, totally understand. But for everybody else, a lot of times it's just about, like, honestly, just putting more crap on paper. Like, usually my generic bit of advice, like, across the board, the thing I say the most is just put more stuff on paper. Like, just more paper. Write more. Take out a sheet of paper today. You're going to start a record of your scores and your mistakes. Now, first, your mistakes. You cannot copy the questions. You may not take the papers with you. You are not going to write the whole multiple choice thing you got wrong. I want you to keep track of the concepts, the vocab, the ideas that you're struggling with. The funny thing is, when somebody corrects you, your brain doesn't fix the mistake. You ever know that thing where you're like, hey, John, nice to see you again? And he goes, no, dude, it's Jimmy. And you go, oh, yeah, sorry, bro, it might be. What's up, Jimmy? Nice to see you again. I got that. It's Jimmy, I got it. And then you like go home and you run into that guy 2 weeks later and you're like, John! He's like, hey ho, it's Jimmy! Oh, right. When somebody corrects you, like everybody's used to computers where you like erase the wrong thing and you write the correct thing, and it's like, now we are perfect and corrected. Your brain has no method for that. There's no eraser in your brain. You do not replace mistaken information in your brain. Like once you learn it wrong, it will be wrong forever. And your brain will always go back by the same pathway to the same information that is wrong. There's a separate memory in another part of your brain that says, here's the right information. It's actually Jimmy. And who cares? Because your brain's just like, yep, we wrote it in the permanent record. What's up, John? So you have to keep track of your mistakes, because everything you've done wrong, you'll do wrong again. Statistically, the stuff you get wrong, you're more likely to keep doing wrong than the stuff you get right, you're more likely to keep doing right. Fun little fact for you. So you have to keep track of the errors you're making, because in the future, you'll need to study those separately, and you need to study those a lot to supersede the incorrect information. So one thing you're going to do on this paper is keep track of everything you did wrong in Unit 1, conceptually. Like, I always forget what utilitarian is. I always struggle with the rule of 70. I always, whatever it is. You're just going to write down the concepts, not the questions out of the test, because you never see those questions again. And if you leave with my questions, you've cheated and I'll ruin your life. Second of all, you're going to record your scores. The total on multiple choice, the total on free response, and your total. Because I got to tell you a little story. I enter all these grades in batches after my children go to bed, and getting out of bed, like, we all sleep in one bed with my children, and so, like, it's all, like, warm and snuggly, and they, like, smell sweet because they just took a bath, and they're, like, really huggy, and, like, I get to bed early when I go to sleep with them, and it's, like, the greatest thing in the world. And, like, having to pull myself from underneath, like, the layers of baby fat, and, like, get out of my bed and walk out into the living room and, like, turn on the bright-ass lights, and I take out my grade book and struggle with this godforsaken HTML-based grade book they're making us use now. Oh. It's a difficult, serious struggle, and that can only be supported by gallons of whiskey, which slightly lowers my grade entry fidelity. It has happened once or twice that I might enter the wrong score. So she had like a 33.3 and I go 3. And then she had a 44 and I go 4. And like, I don't know your scores. You've noticed I'm still like struggling to know like half your names. So 3 sounds perfectly credible. Sure. Like, I don't know. So I don't catch it. When I make mistakes, either you catch it or you got a 3. Just so you know, the computer tells me if I enter a 333, it goes, not possible. And I go, oh yes, thank you, computer. But 3s are very possible. And so if I go, I'm giving you 3,333,000, it goes, no. And I go, oh yeah, right, thanks, computer. But if I enter a 3, the computer's like, sure, and I'm like, sure, and I just move on, so you gotta catch my errors. You all laugh now. You all laugh now, your parents kick you out because you're flunking apes. And you're like, it's the whiskey, Mom! It's not gonna be that funny then. So keep track of your errors. My errors. Yeah.
Is this paper just for Unit 1?
That's just for Unit 1, yeah. And then you can add other units later or whatever you want. Okay, next. We grade what you write on the paper, and this is really disappointing and frustrating for me. I used to be really flexible and like be like, hey, is this really what you meant to say? And if the kid could explain it better, I'd go, oh, you got it. Like, I can tell that most of you know a lot more than you wrote. And sometimes I can tell what you meant to say was right. But I only grade what you actually convey in writing. Just so that we're all clear, a lot of you get a 20% on the exam, but I believe you know an 80% or a 90% or 100%. I see it all the time. My TAs will be like, can we give it to him? Look, he knew what he was saying right there. He just didn't say it. And I go, nope. It's just like the AP test. Even if you know it, doesn't matter. We just grade what you wrote. Not what you know and not what you meant. That's a big struggle. And a lot of you are going to get a huge slap in the face because you're like, no, I totally knew this. And it's like, too bad you didn't actually say it. You should know that this is not in the least bit personal to me. I don't care about your grades. I don't actually know your grades. I never calculate your grades. I haven't seen which one of you did well, which one of you didn't. I haven't seen which one of you turned in the homework and which one of you didn't. In period 2, I haven't looked at a single person's scores and adjusted them to match their name, face, and mathematics. If you're cool and you're failing, I'll always remember you as being cool. And I'll probably never know that you failed. On the other hand, if you're a jerk and you're getting an A, I'll always remember you as a jerk. And I'll never know that you somehow weaseled your way into an A. Like, the grade thing is just not a personal thing. I want to be really clear about that. Like, this doesn't reflect on your value as a human being. There is an appeal process, so if the TAs graded incorrectly, we'll talk about how we can fix it. However, you cannot appeal the Scantron. That's a bummer, because Scantrons make about 2% error rate. 1 or a 2% error rate. If you're good at math with 15 questions and 33 people, that means a few of you are going to get ripped off a point today. For a variety of reasons, we don't appeal the Scantrons. I can explain it to you sometime, but anyway, we just don't appeal it. It's like a really long explanation, but we don't appeal the Scantrons. I've got some general complaints, just so everybody knows. A lot of you can be more specific in your answers. You give the right fact, but not the right reason. A lot of you babble. You think you're having a conversation or you're writing like an essay in your English class. Think of this as an interrogation, not a conversation. Shut up, shut up, shut up. Just answer the question. Shut up, answer the question. Shut up, answer the question. And a lot of you are just illegible. Please don't scrunch. Okay. After you get back all your papers, stay seated. You'll ask all your questions at once. I need 6 volunteers to pass back papers. Ready, set, now. When you finish, help those first two. When you finish, help those first two. Yeah. Those first 2 kids will test that. One more volunteer, please. One more volunteer, please. Kiara, will you please let me know if you get a Scantron back today? You did get a Scantron? You got it. We didn't return your story. Rihanna, will you please let me know if you get your pre-response question back?
Yeah.
I'll go over it. Save your questions. Everybody has the same question, so let's answer them all at once. Buddy, buddy, homie? Homie, homie, buddy? Students qualify for extra time. Get highlighted on this, the whole square and the name.
What's the short answer of the bottom? Actually,
You might have sharpened that a
Wait, what's the curve?
Lauren Dugan, you got to give this back to me. It wasn't graded because of the name issue.
What?
Because it was turned in with the questions, not with the answers.
Okay.
Oh, I get
So
it. Yeah,
nothing's happened. We just have to grade it and record it later. So you don't know your score.
Okay.
So you can still compare it to the key and see what you did wrong.
Okay.
Okay?
No.
Noah? Same thing I just told her. You heard it? Kieran?
So I guess
Nick? I'm pretty sure it's Bodie's fault.
I'm pretty sure it might have been mine.
Oh, Bodie's fault. For you? You didn't separate them? Yes. The answer is leave me alone. Stop talking at me.
Why was my stack of papers like 3 times?
That's your curse. That's what you get. Can somebody please help Bodie? Bodie is the name of the Keanu Reeves character.
That's what I
One of the greatest movies ever made.
What's 13 out of 100? If you divide 13 by 100, you'll get the percentage. Divide 13 by 100. 13 divided by 100? Yeah, but no, I want the number. Like, how do you think the number? What am I trying to say? Like, I fully.
is that a 10?
Anybody know the short answer?
Well, like, here's what. Yeah, you got it.
I wasn't aware. I had to completely. I got it. It's hard. Like they changed out so fast. Mark 3 questions.
We can talk today.
Yeah. Okay. Is that relevant?
Oh yeah, very relevant. All right. Some exams, actually all exams other than this one, have a formula to calculate your score. Because this is the first one of the year, and we want to keep it low impact, so everybody just kind of eases into this testing thing. We don't do any of that formula, we just total your multiple choice plus your free response, which is a number written in pen at the top. You take the number written in pen at the top, add it to the pink on the bottom of the Scantron. In this class, the high score so far, because 6 kids haven't been graded, the high score so far is a 22. So unless one of them does like 22, 21 better, your curve will stay at 20. If one of them is really smart, you might be in trouble, but right now your curve's at 20. Because please look up, this is always written on this paper. In the future, I don't walk you through this, so you'll need to know. This is one of the 5,000 procedures you got to learn today. It'll say high score, how many there were, curve at some number, because I've thrown out the top 2, and that's the third best score. So there was at least 122, a 21, and then the rest are 20, or down. So we set the curve to the third highest grade. In really big classes, if it's more than 36, I actually go to the fourth highest. And then we go to 90% of that, 80% of that, 70% of that, 60% of that to make a cutoff for A, B, C, D. So if you got an 18 or better, you have an A. And there are 9 of you. If you got a 16 or better, you got a B, and there are 7 of you. If you got a 14 or better, then you have a C, and there are 3 of you. If you got a 12 or better, you got a D. And if you got something below a 12, then there were at least 3 of you who got an F. Don't be too impressed by those numbers. We still have to squeeze in 6 more students, so who knows? It's possible they're all F's, possible they're all A's, it's possible to curve move, so. Keep in mind, in my grade book, there's just test points and test points possible. So we're going to average all of your test scores, add in any extra points that you get as extra credit throughout the semester. So for some of you, you've added like 2 points for each unit because of movies, or 4 points because you did a weekend activity during Unit 1. In this class, there were like 6, 7 kids. We got 4-point bonus. You can do the math on what that does. On a bigger exam, it's not as much help. So just so you know, by the end of the semester, the average on exams is about 36 or so. But you know, you'd add in your extra credit points to know your actual testing average, because extra credit points are added to testing. Questions about that? Yeah?
Did you put it in the zero?
No, but I will probably under a blanket of what's. Remember that all these papers you must keep all year. This is for a grade. I give you a grade at the end of the year for having all your papers. You must keep them all. Except you're going to give me back the test stuff. Don't get too attached to the test papers. Yes? This is quite the mystery. Yes, it's serious. Have you ever enrolled in another period? We looked through all the papers we have. Yours was never found. Here's what happens. It may not be the end of the world yet. Everybody else be quiet. What happens is, today I passed back period 3, 4, 5, and 6. Maybe it's in there somewhere. Maybe it's a no-name. You potentially could have forgotten that. If it doesn't show up organically in my sorting of papers, you still have an option. Maybe you left it attached to your question sheet. Oh, that was awesome. Sorry. You want to check? Next question, yes?
We took the test. I was in a different class in a different period.
Right.
So, will I get it like tomorrow when I do something else this morning?
You remember which period you were in?
I think it was 6.
Come hither. Do not leave this area. Okay. Take your Scantron and take your essay and go back to your seat and leave all the other shit there. Okay. Who else? Yeah?
Did we actually get back our
Oh, yeah. Please look up. Everyone, please look up. In a few minutes, I'll give you about 10 to look up here. All the multiple choice questions with the right answer circled. My essay questions with a key. This is the part where you find out your errors, and then you go back to your desk. I want to show you how to read the key, so we're not there yet. On the papers that you got back, if you got your homework, hopefully that means we've recorded it. Later on, I'll show you my grade book, and you can say, hey, wait, you didn't give me credit, and I'll say, bring me the paper. Listen very carefully. The reason I give you back your papers is so you have the evidence to correct my mistakes and my aide's mistakes. Everybody got that? Your extra credit, like for the movies, you only got back the Unit 1 movies. Unit 2 movies are going to be recorded next week. So you're not going to get your Unit 2 movies back yet. Yeah?
So one movie, it's 2 points, right, per movie?
1 point per movie.
Oh, it's only 1 point per movie?
Yep.
So that's 5%.
One, in this exam it would be, on a smaller exam it would be about 3% up. 4. Who else? Yes?
How do we know who got credit for the graphs?
Thanks for asking. Everybody, if you submitted a graph, chart, article, whatever, when you get them back, and sorry, I couldn't get the timing right. If it comes back, that means it was rejected. If I accepted it, then I'm keeping it. So if you turn in 6 and you get 4 back, you got credit for 2. Does that make sense? That's for the submissions that kids give me for the reader extra credit again. Anybody else? Yeah?
So the people who didn't get their response graded, around when can we expect that?
If all goes well, you can expect it tomorrow. But keep in mind, my aides are basically volunteers. If they say, dude, I'm busy today, I say, thanks, it's all good. Like, imagine for you to be a senior and come back and do this for a living. Like, it's just out of the good graces of their kind hearts. And so if they're all willing, then you should be able to get these back by tomorrow because there's not a lot. Okay, anybody else? One last thing I want to show you, and then you can get at it. Remember, you'll have to give me back all of my stuff today. On my key, it has, everybody please look up, the question. Then it has how many points are possible for which task. So when you come up, you'll look at A, and you got 1 point for this, 1 point for that, 1 point for this, 1 point for that. If you did it and did not get a check next to it, didn't get a point for that question, does everybody see how you get scores? They put a check when you say the right thing in the free response, and then on the side next to the letter, they'll give you how many points you got in that section. Everybody see that? In A, you have 2 checks, and it says a 2 next to the A. If you wrote it in your paper and they didn't give you credit, circle where you should have gotten credit. Like, here's the description. We'll talk about how to appeal later. Are there any questions? I can only give you about 9 minutes to look at the keys. All the multiple choice and essays are up on the whiteboard. Ready, set, come look at them now.
Sorry.
Nothing we didn't know. Will you write like things to improve on in that section? Just work faster.
They're your notes. You can check. They're your notes. You can write whatever you want. If you don't want to keep them, you don't have to. If you want to write become a unicorn, you can write become a unicorn. Yeah, that's your notes, dude. Is that working out for you, Gary?
May I use the restroom?
Of course.
One platform only has 2 guys.
Oh yeah, dude, Vada. Those Vada kids, man. It's like the most predatory environment. Yeah. Yes, I'm listening. Hold on to it. Make sure you circled where you should have gotten credit. Wait.
How did you get 15 when it's not 15?
Oh, by the way, where it says extra time, it's only for exams, not for other tests. It's just if they have exam, which is almost everybody. Yeah, can you imagine if you had a young daughter to have her go into Vada? It's like, it's a great place because there's a lot of girls, and it's also where any boy would go to like hunt girls. Like,
So for the first question,
yes.
I
got
they like put lines next to all the things I had, but they gave me 1 point.
Yes.
Like I showed
The
you.
lines at the end are just, that's just so that they know you can't add any more content. We do that so you can't keep writing.
Okay, but I showed the years, showed the work,
Whoever's grading this
and then
And then you only got 1 point? So you would say, here where you showed the work, and at the top you say, appeal, see letter A, I showed my work. So now you're just circling where you should have gotten the point.
Would you want me to talk to you about this after class, maybe? It's a that, yeah, okay.
do you want us to do it in pen or pencil, or is it like to circle it?
I found it.
Well, we can solve this, but it'll be a little while.
Where should I put your stack of papers?
Bottom layer of that gray card. Here's a few more, bro.
I think part of it is that
So how do we debate it? So we can just circle it?
I'll talk about how to get this more. Thank you.
Yeah,
Oh, sorry. Oh, the zeros.
So circle this and write U.
I swear I can help you. I'll give you 3 more minutes to finish checking the keys.
I don't know if you get on that. Remember what
I gotta finish.
No, I mean like.
Brian, can I just see your short answer?
Yeah, it's on my.
No, well, it's out of 10 though. So it can't all be there.
The last one's 4, so it's 4 things. Did you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure.
Wow, it's so cool.
No, yeah, no, that's what I did at first, but then
It's literally just 500,000.
Yeah.
You can do A grades.
What you want? Well, if you or just curious.
And I just like, I was like, sketching one of them.
See the key, because it depends what you say. On the key will tell you what we're looking for. So, what has to happen for it to be exact? You have to explain how there was an unregulated sharing of resources. And you have to talk about the tragedy part. So you have to like apply it to a real.
Like if these two?
Yeah, but you would think that.
So if we went to 2 movies, that's 2 extra points.
If they were both in Unit 1, yes.
Okay.
and then the weekend.
Then I got 18. Yeah. I was like, I'm not gonna wake up this early. And then I woke up and it was over. So that's
4 points. I realized that it's not possible to yeah. Sorry. Kieran gets it. Kieran gets it. Goodbye. I got if Nick has your
It should be. And I would feel that. What? Okay, I want everybody to wrap up this time up in the front.
This went to
So just circle the part where you should have gotten credit, and then I'll circle where you didn't. All right, students, I'm waiting for everybody to be seated so we can talk more. Those of you up in the front, take your time, get your right answers. We're going to go sit down. Hold on to your stuff. We'll get to it. Wait for me. Everybody wait for me. We all got to be on the same page because there's still stuff left for everybody in the class to learn. Children, can you please pass this back? When it gets to the back, put it on the middle. Back thing. I'm pretty much out of patience. So, Mackenzie, try to listen as you read, but you can keep doing what you're doing. I know that the TAs cannot grade your papers perfectly, and all things considered, keep in mind it's a team of former students working together, volunteers, who are kind enough. They could have been like some other teachers or just TAs, but they just walk around and drink coffee. Instead, it chose to be my TAs when I warned them in advance that they're going to work really hard, and they work really hard all year. Senioritis has set in, and instead these kids are helping you make the class better and helping me, and that's rad. So let's be nice to them. But sometimes they miss stuff, and that can happen. So if you said something that is accurate, not that you meant what's on the key, but you actually wrote what's on the key, then you circle that. Now listen carefully. At the top, you write the word appeal. C letter, whichever letter you want them to look at again. So appeal, C letter A or B or C. And then explain which part of the answer you think you answered. Like I did show my work. Or I did describe the rate of change. Or I did describe a utilitarian argument. Or I did solve the tragedy. Whichever part you were supposed to do that you think you did, say it in writing at the top. Now, if you have an appeal, get ready. If you have one, wave it in the air like you just don't care. And Bodie's going to come around and pick them up from you. Everybody else, pass up both the free response and the multiple choice. And kids in the front, count how many are missing from your road. You pass up the multiple choice if you have an appeal on the written.
Who has the appeal?
I've never. Yes. Yes. You see, I
got this job.
I didn't look at this. Never used one of these types of things on before.
Goodbye.
Jose.
Yes.
Is there obviously sitting on the Scantron? Is there any way?
What kind of obvious?
Like,
He's wrong when I clearly marked it.
We don't appeal the Scantron. And I can explain why if you want to know why.
I can. It's not an easy way to fix it.
Actually, it's very easy to fix it. The problem is that it's also very easy to cheat. So in the past where I used to do this,
Oh, I get it, yeah.
kids would be like, look, I bubbled all the right stuff. And they're like, oh yeah, I can't really tell. So I'm not saying you're cheating, but like because it's cheating, I don't accept it as a policy issue. Any other appeals? Cody, you suck. Yeah.
I asked.
I was.
Oh, those that didn't get graded, you're gonna have to pass yours up separately. Pick them out of the pile.
So.
Last call for appeals. Are there any more appeals? No more after this.
Here's an appeal for
Yeah, this is so weird.
Exactly what we're passing to. Just do your row, I think.
And these are the ones that have to be actually graded.
Okay, so wait, you just
These are standard. Don't put them in the bottom.
okay, so these are good.
Yeah. Those weren't good.
4 in this row. In this row, there were 2 that didn't get graded. Are you sure we have all your kids' essays and multiple choices?
You have my. I thought we were passing this way, so I
We are.
passed them to his.
So, but you're sure you have the right number?
Yeah.
And you're sure we have the right number from your row? Are you sure we have the right number from your row? Like you counted those?
Yes.
How many were there in the free response? No, I mean, how many free responses did you get from your row? There's 6 kids here. Oh, plus yours?
Yeah.
How many essays did you get? You got 6?
Yeah.
What about the appeals? Was there no appeals in this
There's
row?
just one appeal.
You got everybody? You got everybody? 4 people appealed in this row? Raise your hand if you appealed in this row. Dang. Are there any questions left about testing life and homework and this procedure and how this all works? Content on the exam. Why was this wrong? Why was that wrong? Every last bit of that content on the exam is fine with you? Yes?
Can you explain what was positive and negative feedback?
Sure. Positive feedback is any cycle where the output like causes more of the problem or of the cycle itself. So like in a wet forest, the heat of the fire dries off wood, so you get more fire, so you get more heat, so you get more dry wood, so you get more fire. That's positive feedback. Because it's like this like snowball effect, like ongoing. Negative feedback is something where the output stops. So like, which one?
It was number. So like the second time.
I still don't see it. 11. Where more radiation reaches the surface and raises the temperature, so you get more clouds, which raises...
Yeah, I thought it was.
Oh, so the increased cloud cover reduces the radiation coming in. So the extra clouds reduce radiation. That's going to be like self-regulating. That's negative feedback. The outcome stops the cycle. Mackenzie Fell, did you give me your paper yet? Everybody else, have a great day. Mackenzie Fell, come give me my papers.
Only one test. Yeah.